Hi everyone, it's day 74 of my 60 pounds and 90 days weight loss challenge. And today I want to talk to you about fasting benefits. Okay, so today is day 7 of my water fast. It's in the morning, so I haven't completed day 7 yet. I've got my weigh-in for this morning at the end of this video, so that's basically my weigh-in from 6 days of water fasting. And a lot of people are kind of telling me, you know what, you're being too extreme, this is unhealthy, you need to eat right away. I'm getting comments on Instagram, comments on YouTube, people are emailing me and messaging me comments, and I think that those people are a little bit confused, right? Historically speaking, we were hunter-gatherers. I don't think anybody will dispute that. Whether you believe in evolution or don't believe in evolution, one way or the other, we were hunter-gatherers. We weren't always an agricultural community. In fact, a lot of today's health problems sprung out of the agricultural community. So when we were hunter-gatherers, we would feast when we had food, and by force, we would fast when we didn't have food. So people are saying, hey, Kevin, you're walking 4 or 5 miles a day while you're in a fasted state. You should really be resting. Well, to dispute that, what I would say is that when we were hunter-gatherers, people didn't just rest when they didn't have any food. They had to go out and find food. They had to go out and walk and hike and look for animals to hunt or food to forage, berries or fruit to forage. So I don't really think that my walking 4 or 5 miles is extreme. In fact, I think I have a more constant supply of fresh water, electrolytes, and minerals from my supplements than they did back then. So I'm actually probably fasting in a healthier manner than they were forced to fast in. So that's the first thing, is that I don't think I'm being too active for a fasted state. I do think that fasting is extreme in today's society because people just don't do it. Not because it's actually dangerous, but because you don't see other people doing it. There's many people who probably go their whole lives without skipping 24 hours of eating, right? And once you get past one day, I think it's a very, very small percentage of people that go 2 or 3 days without eating. That doesn't mean that it's unhealthy, it's just uncommon. So anyway, there are a lot of benefits to fasting. Weight loss, of course, is a primary benefit, right? Anybody who's on a low-calorie diet is supplementing their diet with their own body fat. So their low-calorie diet becomes a high-fat diet, because once they drop below a certain number of calories, then their body is turning their own fat into energy, which is an animal fat. So they're on a high-fat diet. My fasting state right now is also high-fat. All of my energy is coming from fat. Now, if you started fasting while you still had glycogen stores, then you still might be burning some glycogen. However, I was in ketosis for quite some time before I started fasting this go-round, and so all of my energy is coming from fat. There may be a minute portion that is coming from protein, and we'll talk about where that protein is coming from here in a couple minutes. But there are other benefits besides weight loss are good long-term health benefits as well. Number one, it gives your digestive system a rest. It cleans out your colon and it cleans out your intestines and allows them to regenerate and heal whatever may be ailing them. Also, it creates autophagy, which recycles old cells, old body cells, and once you start eating again, those old cells that were, I guess it's called a catabolized because they were broken down, those old cells will be replaced with new cells, new healthier cells. And that's one of the reasons that a fasting state is anti-cancer, because all of us, all the time, have potentially cancerous cells in our body. There's cells that get deformed, cells that lose genetic information, and if those start replicating and get out of control, they can turn into cancer. Because we are in a fasted state, those cells are catabolized, presumably those cells are catabolized, and then replaced with new, fresh, healthy cells. So it's anti-cancer. Your body does use some protein, supposedly. We don't know that 100% for sure, but your brain will mostly function on ketones, the best of which is beta-hydroxybutyrate. But there is a portion of your brain's energy that comes from glucose. That glucose can be created in the liver using protein stores that are in your body. Now that doesn't necessarily mean that it's coming from muscle. A lot of people have done DEXA scans before they fast and after they fast and find that in the areas that seem to matter, they've actually put on lean mass. So it's not necessarily coming from muscle. There are other protein stores in your body. In fact, one of the protein stores in your body is in your brain. The little pieces of gunky protein get stored in your brain over your lifetime and can actually lead to Alzheimer's. So it's potentially anti-Alzheimer's to be in a fasted state occasionally as well. Another benefit is that it increases your insulin sensitivity. So I've talked to you several times over the course of my diet about how I think that I am insulin resistant, and that's one of the reasons why a high fat, moderate protein, low carbohydrate, ketogenic diet works so well for me, because I am insulin resistant. To increase insulin sensitivity means that in the future I could possibly tolerate more carbs without putting on the massive amounts of weight that I have in the past. That doesn't mean that I want to go to a high carb diet or anything like that, but eventually I would like to transition to a paleo type diet where I eat more, or a paleo low glycemic type diet where I eat more complex carbohydrates and also add in more fruit. If I am more insulin sensitive, I may be able to handle those additions to my diet better. In fact, I would like to continue to intermittent fast for the rest of my life. Not every day, but several times a week, because I think there are a lot of health benefits to intermittent fasting as well. Fasting has the same health benefits as intermittent fasting, only more extreme and longer lasting. The last benefit that I can think of right now is that it increases HGH production, which may be one of the reasons why people that have done those DEXA scans have seen the lean mass increase in their arms and legs that you wouldn't expect in a fasted state. HGH is basically a youth hormone. In fact, if you've ever watched documentaries about people that are on HGH, that are injecting HGH, they look half their age. I mean, it really is like the fountain of youth. It tapers off as you get older, but when you're young, HGH production is the highest. Now, exercise increases HGH, fasting increases HGH, you can take exogenous HGH. I'm sure there's other foods. I've read that frankincense oil can stimulate the pituitary gland, which increases HGH. So there's a lot of ways that you can increase HGH, and really you should be doing as many of them as you can, because HGH is healing, it is youth, it is age-defying, right? It is regenerative. HGH is really the good stuff that you want floating around your body. So because I'm in a fasted state, it's increasing HGH. I believe that once you start eating after being in a fasted state, it really gives you a burst of HGH. So if you are intermittent fasting and you also work out, my opinion would be that the best time for you to eat would be after your workout, when your body is trying to regenerate. So you would be in intermittent fasting. Let's say you fast for 20 hours a day, somewhere around the 18th or 19th hour, you would go and do your workout, and then after that, you would have a meal. And I think that that would be the best time for you to be eating if you're intermittent fasting. So these are some of the benefits that you get from fasting. I'm sure there's more. I'm not an expert in the field. I am pretty well versed, but I'm not an expert. And so if you know of any other benefits of fasting that I forgot to mention here, please leave them below, and I'll do an updated video again later once I find more of the benefits and once I can actually verify some of those benefits for myself. But as you can see, I'm still feeling pretty well. I am hungry. I woke up hungry this morning a little bit, but it's not an unbearable hunger. I'm going to go out here and have a couple glasses of iced tea to start my day. Here's my weigh-in from this morning, and hopefully I see you tomorrow. 242.2.